And I think that's probably the biggest culprit for most men is stress. No, I'm taking what has been prescribed to me based upon my blood work. So that's the approach that I'm taking.
There is individuals, obviously, with low T that could be freaking great and everything's fine. Clark, I want to show some new merch.
I love that. What's it say?
Can you read that?
It says trans.
Gender.
Yeah, that's what it says? Oh,
yeah.
It's in pink.
Yeah. So we'll make sure to get you down. The merch is available on the Mike O'Hearn Lifestyle. But transgender, I identify as a natty.
Okay.
But I'm on loads of trend. Loads. All the rumors are fake about trend. It doesn't do anything to you besides make you strong and a beast and everything else. No side effects.
It helps you star in movies. It helps you wake up at 4 a.m. It helps you do all sorts of things that people can't.
Yeah, it makes you, a 60-year-old man outlive 20-year-olds. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, man.
With that being said, I love trolling the trolls. We'll continue to do so. But I want to jump on here today and say that I had my talk with Transcend, talking about another trends. And they went over my blood markers and blood work and stuff like that. And it's surprising. And I know one of the things that, I want to continue to work on and make sure that healthy is making sure that thyroid is healthy, making sure that cholesterol is in a good range. The liver and kidneys are like sharp as a tack as we continue to age. And I know that you've done the same thing. And I noticed, and I want to talk about this, your testosterone level has always been around above 8. So is that correct? 8, 9?
Yeah, 7, 8 in there.
Okay, so it's extremely healthy and at the higher range of at any age. Even though you're close to that big number on the other side, as we both are. We're on the other side of that 50. So with that being said, what do you think triggered it to drop on this last test?
That's a good question. And if I were to give a knee-jerk response, I would say stress is what does it. And I think that's probably the biggest culprit for most men is stress, because I don't think that we're all in a situation where we're exposed to so much outside endocrine disruptors, if you will. I think it's stress, man. And some of us handle it better than others, but I think I handle it good externally, but internally it was affecting me, and that's what the effect was. Lowered my.
You also, if I'm correct, you went back to, because you're a very active guy and your workouts are very athletic based, would be a good term. You lift weights, but it's more in a motion of movement, range of motion, and speed between sets and so on, which I love for you. And then I think you also went back to that old school kind of mentality of that foundation work that you and I did in our teens and 20s that allowed us to get on stage, compete, and win. That just slowing it down a bit, doing your squats, doing your heavy bent over rows and bench press and stuff. Do you not think that might have triggered a droppage as well?
That's a good point. And that is added stress to the body, right? Because I wasn't used to that. I got away from doing squats. I got away from the old school bodybuilding type of workouts. And the reason was I was at a gym where it just wasn't motivating me to do that. So I switched gyms and I went to another place and I got around some guys that the first day I was in there, they started to challenge me. Well, the 70-year-old guys weren't challenging me, and all of the regular people, we'll call it, regular gym goers, it just wasn't an atmosphere, and we had talked about that the last time. The atmosphere just gets you going. So I went in there and just started lifting heavy. Matter of fact, today we had a great back workout, and these guys are 20 years younger than me. And, I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it hard now. So, yeah, that could be it. You would think it'd be the opposite, but it could not be the opposite.
Well, from everything I've ever researched, it's not the opposite. It doesn't raise it. It raises it, but not on a blood level in the sense of reporting it. Because what it does is actually factors the drop of it, even though it is raising in the sense of what's really going on. So I love the research on that you're tested, and it will be much higher, but it's in real life where it's not on the test, if that makes sense to you guys. So stress, even training with heavy weights, will raise your testosterone, but on your reports, most of the time, from everything that I've ever studied, and I'm one actually to really clarify that it doesn't show there, it lowers it. With that being said, what's the game plan that you're starting to do? Because I think you did like more boron and taking some extra vitamins to try to raise it up, and especially your free test. Okay, explain this. What do you got there?
So what I did was I got my blood tested, and that's when I found out it went down. So with that, we looked at my blood, and we did a customized supplement regimen for me specifically. So I've got a morning and an evening pack and a lunchtime pack right here. And for the first time in my life, I'm being religious about taking this because, like you, I want to test it and see what this supplementation will do for me regarding that number that I got on my blood work. Right. So I'm taking all of the stuff that has been shown and researched that will boost testosterone, like you had mentioned, boron and the Tonkat Ali and the horny goatweed and things like that, that some might not agree that does it. But look, I'm taking this approach because I want to take this approach. And then the vitamin D and the essential fatty acids and all of that stuff. You had talked about an animal pack before. So basically what I have is a customized animal pack based upon my blood work and the research that was done on me in my blood. The only thing that can tell you. So this is a much more thoughtful approach than me just going off to some GNC somewhere and buying whatever some guy tells me to buy. No, I'm taking what has been prescribed to me based upon my blood work. So that's the approach that I'm taking. Plus, I'm still training hard. I'm doing a fast right now, seeing what that does to me. So I'm just messing around with different things, man. And I'll get my blood tested again, and then we'll see. You know, with the cholesterol and all of those other markers are important too. I'm not just interested in testosterone.
It sounds like you are. It seems like you're really fixated on it, man. I'm just saying.
I didn't wake up with a boner this morning.
I love the fact that you're it's so cool that you're having fun with this.
Oh, it's a blast. I'm having so much, like, I think now more than ever, I've had a lot of fun doing that. And it's because part of the reason is because people are recognizing the fact that my age and the way I look is uncommon, right? It's not normal. So that pride of ownership is driving me to see how much more, like you always talk about the skin, like, can I make my skin look better? Can I make everything look better and function better and just show up as a 60-year-old man looking like the 0.5% of the population, man? You know,
zero, yeah. It's I think that's the coolest thing about where we are. And it's so cool in this world of health and fitness and the most pinnacle athletes in the world. It's great that it's, I mean, it's such a small amount that are at the peak of the mountain still today from the 80s and 90s. And you're one of them. And that I've been on this journey with you, and we're so tight. So it's fun to have you here still because you fully understand this journey to the fullest. And so when I can communicate with you, and this is a little bit of a frustration I find, is when you've done something to this level for this long, there's so few that you can really talk to. And so I appreciate you being who you are and finding this next gear that you found. Gear, get it? Gear. But it's cool that you found this next gear to go, hey, I need to level it up a bit. And then, you know, for me, I'm leveling up because I got a little one. And so I have to figure out, and like you were saying, it's like people are coming to you going, wow, you look this good. And so you're like, oh yeah, let me show you even a little bit more what I can do. And for me, I'm like, man, the skin, the connective tissue, if we can stay that and stay strong, then I can grapple with him in 10 years. And to do that, we have to test the blood. And we also have to figure out how we can train for the next 10 years as we age. And how can we stay ahead of the father time? How do we stay ahead of it? And the problem is that we have so few that are in front of us in that stage. I'm lucky I got Robbie Robinson. But there's so few that we can look at. But you and I have both known, and you were very close with Jack LaLanne, somebody that actually did that until his 90s. So it's kind of cool that we get to create a whole new future for us as we do this and learn even further. Is there anything else about the blood work that you're working on?
That, back to the testosterone thing, total testosterone is one thing, but free testosterone is another. So that's what we really looked at, is we don't want to just raise up the total. We want to raise up the free as well. So that's why we added things in like boron to my custom supplement package. So other than that, no, I'm going to get it tested again in probably, I did it last month. So probably 2 more months. We'll do it every quarter. And it's a project that I'm actually working on. We're going to launch this so people can do it. They can get their custom supplements and have something less invasive than going right to TRT or something like that, which I'm not saying that I'll never do. I won't do it till I need to do it. And I did a podcast the other day. I said, when I do it, I'm going to cash in on it. Someone's going to pay me money to endorse their product. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm against it. I'm just against guys doing it when they're not ready for it because they haven't tried any lifestyle modification yet.
Right.
They haven't even done their blood work yet. Like, we're really both advocates. Get your blood work done. That's the overall arching theme of what we're talking about. So if you're watching and you haven't, my question would be, why? What are you afraid of? A needle or finding something out?
That's an odd one for me. And I said this the other day. I said, I posted a video going, man, it wasn't an option for me when I was a kid. I'm sitting there, moving down to California, working with Joe Weider, winning the universe, winning the California powerlifting. I couldn't get my blood checked, or couldn't do peptides even. I didn't know about that. And so now they got those options. I would run out there if I was all these guys on here that are 30, 40, 50, and I got 20-year-olds that are going over there. 26, his testosterone was at 200. 26 and his testosterone is 200. How stressed out is that kid?
Yeah, man, it's a pandemic. That's the real pandemic that's going on in the world, is low T in men, unfortunately. But you don't know until you get tested, right? You can't
and
just
their
go
family
on.
doctor, and their family doctor looking at it. That was one of the things. You got somebody special to look at it. Who's looking at your blood markers and explaining this to you? You
know who Doug Grant is?
I can't say I do.
Doug Grant was in the movie Invictus and all of these other things. He's also verified that I'm natural and not on anything. And he was waiting. He was waiting to test me because he's known about me. And he had several people ask him, hey, do you think this Clark Bartram guy is natural? He's like, I don't know, but I'm about to test his blood because he and I are involved in a project together. And this is me testing this out prior to launching this thing.
Right.
But he is someone who understands exactly what it is that he's looking at, because the IOC and WADA and USADA and these companies that test for specific drugs call him. He's an expert in the field. So he's someone who knows what to look for when they're trying to find out whether or not someone's natty or not. And he also knows what to look for to see what's lacking, because he is wanting people to stay drug-free and not do TRT for as long as possible. Yeah.
What would be the point of, so I know there's other options besides straight to T for bumping your testosterone. I think that's great that you're working with somebody that's just credible and that knowledgeable, mostly knowledgeable, because I think if you're working with somebody like that you've explained to me, and I trust your opinion of people, it's tenfold better than the family doctor that looks at numbers so elementary and go, oh, you're 300. It's 250 to 900. You're good. You're fine. Move on. Where that individual, yeah, I mean, there is individuals, obviously, with low T that could be freaking great and everything's fine, but there's others that have lack of energy and so on. So